What is up, creatives? This is Tom, welcome back to another video. So one of my favorite creators on the YouTube platform is YC Imaging. He makes amazing videos about videography, content creation. Most specifically, he's focused on music videos and also camera gear. So he made a series of videos, a couple of videos recently, that were talking about 5 filmmaking items that he regretted buying and 5 items which he was really glad that he purchased. So I thought I would sort of throw my hat into the mix in these videos. I thought it was an interesting topic. So I'm going to talk through 7 items that I'm really glad I purchased for my filmmaking videography career. Personally, I've just started in terms of full-time. I've been making videos for the past sort of 6-7 years, but I've just started, actually gone sort of full-time on my own. And these are 7 items, 7 things that have been a really good investment for me. Now, I do warn you before we get into it, some of these items are a little boring. I mean that in the sort of most constructive way possible. These things just aren't the most flashy things in the world, and you'll often find that this sort of least sexy items are often your best investment. We're going to kick things off with a good old-fashioned camera bag. Now, this is probably the best, or one of the best investments I've made in the last sort of year or so. I've always shied away from buying really good camera bags. They're very expensive. There's a load of faff that comes with a camera bag, but personally, this has just been really invaluable to me in terms of making a difference in my content creation. This is the Manfrotto MV30, I think. I will have it linked down below, as with all of these items, but basically it is just an absolute beast of a camera bag, whilst being a really functional and portable size. It has a slot for a 13-inch MacBook. It has compartments for a ton of cameras and gear. I personally actually managed to squeeze my entire Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera rig into this camera bag. I have a video on that, so if you're interested, that will be linked down below in the description as well. Like I said, this is just an absolute workhorse of a camera bag. You can put basically sort of 2 cameras with a set of lenses, and then you're also basically just never going to run out of space with this camera bag. So a really great investment. Spending a little bit more on a camera bag is just something fairly essential, because it's not going to fall apart. It's actually going to be really functional, and again, that money that you're investing it into the first place is actually going to be well spent, instead of you having to buy another one in a year's time down the line. All right, next up on the list, I want to talk about SSDs. These babies right here. This is the Samsung T5 SSD. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus on it. Probably not, because the Canon 90D is set to focus on my face right now. But these are just amazing little solid state drives. Now, the advantage of having this type of SSD is that I can shoot directly from my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera straight into this drive. And that's just like a massive life sort of time saver. It means that I can edit directly off these drives. Now, these drives are insanely quick. I also have a sort of big bank of video storage on my desk behind me, and that's sort of a big chunky hard drive that like all of my sort of working files go on there. But when I'm actually editing a project and I just want to turn it around nice and quickly, I'll edit it directly off this little drive, and they're relatively affordable now. You can pick like a 500 gigabyte SSD up for I think about like £80, 80 or 90 US dollars. So they are really affordable, really great for travel. You don't really have to worry about sort of bumping them and them losing the data that you have stored on them. I don't know why some sort of massive bike is going past my window at the moment, but this drive is just a great investment. For not that much amount of money, you'll be able to edit your files and edit your projects so much quicker, whilst also having an additional bank of storage. Next up is Final Cut Pro X. Now, this is a bit of a cheat, but I did, you purchase it one time in one go, and that is the advantage of Final Cut compared to other editing softwares. So with the Premiere system and Adobe Creative Cloud, that is a monthly subscription, rolling subscription. Over time, that is going to really add up. It's a fairly significant investment for your business, whereas with Final Cut, it's a one and done payment, and it's personally just my favorite editor. It is so quick. It renders video files out stupidly quickly, which is an amazing investment for your business, for your creative output. Yeah, basically no need to say anything more on that. I'm just really glad I bought Final Cut Pro X. All right, so next up, the Sony a6500. I have it behind me, this little camera here, and this is my first professional video and photo camera. This is the camera that I bought, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, when I actually thought I might be able to do this for a job. And the reason is that these cameras now, these little mirrorless cameras, have an amazing image quality. Like, they produce such incredible visuals for the price. They are affordable. Just that ties in. You know, you can pick up this camera now, I believe about £700 in the UK, probably around similar price in the States. And you're getting a camera that can do both photo and video at really high quality. Like, this camera, this little camera here, shoots 1080p, 120 frames a second. Like, it's awesome. The little output, that you can get from these cameras. If you are a beginner videographer, photographer, I would just recommend you go for one of these sort of all-in-one mirrorless systems. You are not going to regret it. I think it says a lot. I have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera behind me. I have a Canon 90D that shoots me at the moment, and I have kept this. I've not sold it just because it's so convenient and good to use in certain situations. All right, next up, the GorillaPod. Now, hear me out, because I know that every list online has either the GorillaPod for good reasons or bad reasons. Personally, I'm very much in the good reasons camp. Like, I love this little tripod. Don't get me wrong. I'm not about to go and put an expensive camera with an expensive lens and whack it on a, you know, like a thing precariously balanced, and then it's gonna fall off, because I have done it before. It is really easy to do. You do not want to risk things with these tripods, but it is amazingly useful to have a tripod that you can just throw in your backpack. It's nice and easy, very, very quick. You can screw it onto most camera systems. Like the Pocket Cinema camera is a little bit heavy for it, but for the 90D and most lenses that I have on that camera, this works an absolute treat. And it can just be used in pretty much any situation. I'll be out and about. If I'm mountain biking, you can just prop it up in, you know, between rocks and things like that. Like, it's super easy, super quick. Maybe not such an amazing investment as a professional video creator, but if you're an online creator, YouTuber, like, this is just such a useful tool. All right, we go from one tripod, this tiny little tripod, to this big tripod that is filming me right now. I don't have it in front of me because, like I said, the Canon 90D is sitting on it right in front of me. But I bought this tripod and the tripod head. They're both Manfrotto. I forget the model numbers, but I will have them linked down below in the description. I bought them about 6 to 7 years ago when I was making YouTube videos on my old channel, and they've stuck with me this entire time. You buy a good Manfrotto video head, and that is just going to stay with you for basically forever. Like, these things are just absolute beasts. There's a reason that you pay a little bit more for them, because they are fantastic pieces of equipment. They are really good hardware, built to last. You'll look back in 5 years' time, you still have that big tripod in the corner, hasn't gone anywhere, and you'll thank me later. All right, and finally, we come to the last thing on my list. And there's a reason that I've left this to last, because it is my gimbals. This is the Zion Crane 2. It is an amazing, great little gimbal. Well, not that little actually. It's just a really, really great gimbal for YouTubers, video creators, freelancers. And the reason that I've left this to last, the reason I want to talk about it now, is because I am actually tempted to include this on both lists. Because you don't need a gimbal. You really don't need a gimbal. Like, first of all, when I first got into video, I think pretty much everyone thinks that you need to go and buy a stabilizing system of some kind. That's not necessarily true. It might be true if you do certain types of work. Things like real estate, things like that, like, are gonna be massively helped by having a gimbal of this nature. However, maybe 85 to 90% of the work that I do now is either on tripods or it's handheld for additional B-roll shots. I don't use this an awful amount. They're a bit of a faff to set up. The look that you get from them is quite different to the look that you'll be using throughout other parts of your video. And overall, they just come with quite a lot of caveats. However, I do believe personally that they are the best way to get started in video production. Now, hear me out a little bit. Buying a gimbal will circumvent your skills just a little bit. You can buy a cheap gimbal and buy a camera like the A6500, and it means that you're going to be able to basically just immediately jump to a higher level in your video production than you were before. Is that good? Maybe not, but it does mean that you'll be able to take sort of beginner client projects on and shoot high quality video with just this little setup right here. That is an amazing thing, that you can basically run a small little production company using this and this. Gimbals have a little bit of a stigma around them now, but they are still incredible, useful tools that I think can be used at the right time in your video, can immediately sort of just bring your videos to the next level. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that video and or found it interesting. I will link YC Imaging's original video in the description if you're interested in hearing his list. But like I said, hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you have any questions about any of this gear, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.